And welcome back. The History Museum on the Square will soon unveil a brand new exhibit exploring the Mother Road becoming a cultural phenomenon. And joining us now from the museum is Sean Fitzgibbons. Good morning, Sean.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so first things first, when I was reading about what's kind of happening with this, the centennial celebration for Route 66 is next year in 2026, right? So how is the History Museum kind of gearing up for that?
Yeah, so a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Right? So for the past couple years, we've been doing the Route 66 series. We started with Order Up, which was all about the restaurants on Route 66 here in Springfield. Then we did Service with a Smile. That was all the service stations and not gas stations.
Okay.
I made that mistake
Yeah.
publicly.
Retractor statement.
Today we're putting out a clear distinction, yes.
Service stations. And then we had hotels, motels with checking in. So this year we're doing the cultural attractions, right? So the roadside gems. And then next year with the 100th, we will do, we're going to have a recap of all of them. So kind of just showcasing the entire story of Route 66.
Yeah. Awesome.
And working with Visit Springfield, working with the city, and a whole bunch of it is going to be a big deal next year.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Well, you just kind of teased this, but next week launches the new exhibit. So why don't you kind of dive a little deeper into that?
Yeah, so like with food and restaurants and service stations, right? That's how you take care of yourself. You fuel up with your food. You fuel up with the service stations and fix your car, and then you sleep. So this is really like the why, right? Why do you pile your entire family in the car and drive across the country, right?
Yeah.
It's the getting out and seeing all the different spots and cultural attractions, things like that. When we first started planning it, we were thinking, okay, we have the second largest fork here in town, right? Or the world's largest rocking chair out in Rolla or whatever. But then we started really digging into like, what does it mean to be a cultural attraction? And so we're talking about theaters, like the Landers, the Fox, or was the Electric, now it's the Fox, or the Gilloys, or like the zoo, all of the caves around town.
Yeah.
And the things that you would get out and do, and somebody from Chicago who's driving through gets to see a little bit of the uniqueness of what the Ozarks provides.
We have so much here.
Yeah, exactly.
So many options.
And so it was like there's just digging into it. It was this very surprising as to like as we were navigating what it means to be a cultural attraction. So it was a lot of fun doing that too.
Yeah, I love that you guys are exploring this a little bit more, and obviously that's like a great part of what you do in general, but it's interesting because last fall our team did a Route 66 series where we went around to kind of like the Ozarks region of exploring some different things, but there's so many things that I didn't even know, and I think it's especially cool to keep it alive for like younger generations because it does feel like a pastime thing almost in a sense, but like what have you guys loved about kind of like unearthing some of this and like continuing to like give it life and make it, continue to make it what it is?
Right. One of the coolest things about like Route 66, and we have a lot of international travelers coming into the museum, and what they say is like, oh, I've been to New York, I've been to LA, but I wanted to see America. So I drove, we're driving Route 66, right? So that's kind of what's really special about Route 66 and Springfield's history and naming it here in town, is that it's kind of like the behind the scenes of America, you know? You get to see, it's just wide open expanse. I remember when I visited, I did an exchange program in Holland, and we had a hour-long road trip, and they were preparing like days in advance, but road trips, that they take the train, so like America, the road trip is like the quintessential thing, like 3-hour drive for somebody in Missouri or somebody from Texas is just, that's going to see your cousins or something. And so, like, I think that's what's really special about this, and it's coming back, like this nostalgia for seeing, like, behind the scenes America.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and that idea of like just getting in the car and going, right? It's funny, last week my wife was like, I feel like if it's under 12 hours, that's doable. If it's over 12 hours, that's where I'm considering a flight. But it's funny because I think a lot of Americans are the same way. You know, it's like we really like barter with ourselves on like what's doable road trip wise and what's not. And I think the route for Route 66 is probably the same way for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's its own. Right, the destination is that journey, especially for Route 66. I mean, it's so ingrained in our pop culture from authors for 100 years,
Yeah.
or you know, songs, and just so it's really coming back. I just saw there was a new music video from somebody who. And they're highlighting the road trip
Yeah.
again. I mean, it's coming back, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
It's so cool. Well, Sean, thank you so much for
Yeah,
being here. We
thanks, Sean.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that's July 2nd when that opens,
July
right?
2nd through September 14th.
All right.
More information, historymuseumonthesquare.org. Check our socials, and it's included with the price of admission.
All right,
Fabulous.
Sean, thank you. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks,
it.
Sean.
All right, you guys, do not move anywhere. We'll be right back.